This is what Veritas does. It really provides a 360 data management solution for data that it protects. There is a number of different data services that we provide. Each one have products associated with them. So for example, for data protection, we have Net Backup today that does backups. Simple as that. We have a CloudPoint product, which does snapshot-based and cloud-based backups. That's one set of products, but in all has to work with a number of other set of value-added data services to do things around discovery, classification, and policy automation. Data and app portability is another thing. So if I'm going to take data that I've protected and I'm going to move it off into a cloud setting, which our data protection product can do, can I then go and spin up one of those cloud instances as a test and dev instance? That's what this data and app portability portion can do. If I'm going to protect the data, where am I going to keep it? I can keep it in a Net Backup appliance, which is something that we'll sell you. You can actually keep it in a tape. You can send it to the cloud, or these days it's quite common to send it to a very low-cost, cheap and deep disk-based NAS type solution. So we built the cheap and deep scale-out file solution for retaining long-term retention data at the lowest possible cost. All of these things interact with each other. These are different products, but they work with each other to provide a comprehensive data protection and data management solution. Now that I'm protecting data, I might be putting it to the cloud, I might be putting it to tape, I might be putting it to a long-term retention. How do I know what I have where? That's the data visibility portion.
Now, is that a separate product, or is that
separate product?
Okay.
That product today will run as a cloud-based tool, SaaS-based tool, but we'll bring it as an on-prem tool as well. It uses connectors to see all of the Veritas products that you have, all of the data that you've retained in some location, as well as data sources that are outside the Veritas walls. So for example, if you have stuff in Salesforce and things in Dropbox and Box, we can actually give you an idea of what data you have by scanning that data and classifying it and telling you whether you have personally identifiable information, GDPR violations, or what have you. That is a product.
So how deep is that product from, if I've been a Veritas customer for 20 years, I got a lot of data in my Veritas master server, catalog servers. How deep is that visibility product?
How deep is it? It's as deep as you let it run in terms of what it can.
Historically, a lot of we've been talking about metadata and data visibility with a lot of competitive products, and those products are rather young. So it's easy to say, okay, from the past 3 or 4 years, you have visibility, data visibility, and everything we've backed up for you to date.
Yeah, it has to go and scan the environment. So it could take a while to scan petabytes and petabytes and petabytes, but there is a classifier with a number of different classification policies that'll go and basically scan against the stuff that we know we have because we've got the catalog of what we're protecting.
So if I have
20 years old data, we can go scan it.
Okay, that is the.
What are you scanning? Are you indexing based on file name, or are you reading the files?
In the case of the information classifier, we're cracking open the data, we're looking at it, we're looking for signatures that match a specific pattern. Okay. We have digital compliance solutions that allow you to take that data visibility and figure out whether you're in compliance or not. And we have business continuity solutions that say, hey, because we have this richness around the Veritas Storage Foundation HA InfoScale product, we know how to basically figure out what an application entire ecosystem looks like, and we can help you wrap that up and the data and migrate it or move it or give you a DR to cloud solution. All of these things are the way that we provide 360 data management. Some of them will come on an appliance. So you can put the Net Backup product on an appliance. You can put the Net Backup Cloud Catalyst, which tiers data to the cloud, on an appliance. You can put the storage optimization, which is the NAS solution for storing long-term retention, on an appliance, but you don't have to. You can bring your own hardware if you want to, or you can run this software in the cloud, and then you don't have to worry about it at all, because the cloud provider is providing you the infrastructure. Does that help?
Yeah,
Can I give you more context?
I want to make sure I don't misclassify this.
Sure.
is this is the core of your story, whether you're talking about on-prem, off-prem. For the past, 20 years, if I've been a net backup customer and Veritas in general with the whole portfolio of suites, today I have this capability on-prem.
Yes.
Step one on my cloud journey is to be able to use the cloud today as a target for this.
That's right. Step one is to basically use a target, and that means that all of these, the data protection product can send data to the cloud as a target. This NAS box can send the data to the cloud as a target. That's step one. Step two is to be able to run these natively as cloud solutions. So a net backup running in the cloud, these NAS long-term retention running in the cloud, this data and app portability running in the cloud so that we can do data migration between Cloud 1 and Cloud 2, between AWS and Azure.
So do we know what that's going to look like today from a fit and finish, not from a finished position, but a fit? Is that going to be a SaaS offering? Is that going to be something that runs, let's say, in AWS in my own VPC?
Is
that going to?
It's mostly sold through Marketplace today.
Okay.
Is this what CloudPoint is?
But CloudPoint is something a little bit different in that CloudPoint says that the old data protection product, or the existing kind of our known data protection products in NetBackup, which is a very large, robust product that can do a lot of things. And it's lots of nerd knobs, a lot of different agents, a lot of different workloads. What CloudPoint does is and that's for a backup administrator. CloudPoint says what a number of the small startups are saying is that, hey, there's a different way of doing data protection. That different way of doing data protection is snapshot-based, it's API-based. I can go to my NoSQL database and I can tell it, give me a consistent snapshot, and I'm going to suck that back in and store it. And I'm going to be able to restore from that or turn it into a test and dev instance, right? And I'm going to do it agentless, and it's going to be very simple and straightforward. And it's going to either do it through an API into a cloud vendor or into one of these next-gen applications that are basically run by DevOps people or by VM admins or by, you name it, right? But not by the backup admin. So it's a product for a completely different buyer.
So I'm sure we should probably move on to the CloudPoint conversation, but just real quick before we do, who is the Veritas buyer today? Is it the classic?
Today is the classic
user,
That's right.
What percentage of net new customers are coming into the Veritas ecosystem?
I mean, I can't go into the exact, what our net new logos looks like, right? But today, the classic buyer of Veritas data protection net backup products is the classic backup admin. So if you think of all the enterprises that have classic backup administrative in their job title, I'm a backup adminer, they're the ones who use this product. But as you know, there is a next generation of people who want to be able to protect workloads who have a different title. I'm the cloud admin, I'm the VM admin, I'm the whatever. And they don't want to have to go to the backup admin, and they don't want agents everywhere. And they want very simple, straightforward, policy-driven, API-driven ways, automating protection. Simple API, cut me a copy, send it over, I'll store it.
And you can't talk about how significant of a customer base that is that's coming in?
I think that customer base is, I think if you actually look at the world.
No. I'm not interested in the world. I know the world. I'm talking about for Veritas. So of the customers that are buying Veritas today, so let me put something out there and you tell me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
No. I don't want both because that's BS. That's about as generic as you can get. What I'm hearing is the vast majority of Veritas customers today that are paying you money for product today have been paying you money for some period of time using the classic products.
That's right.
Very few are net new customers that are coming in because they're interested in the new products.
I would say that quite a few are coming in who were using the existing products. They now see that there are net new products like this long-term retention product and saying, oh, that's a great addition to the suite that I already have. That's a great added capability.
Then they're an existing customer.
They're existing customers, right?
Missed my point.
let me make a secondary point.
How many
because I
customers
think
have you had in the last brand new? Is that a?
unfortunately, I'm not going to comment on that in this forum. But I will say this: there is a very loyal NetBackup customer base. It is a large enterprise base, and they continue to buy the new features and capabilities that we have. Now, as we know, that the role of the NetBackup administrator or the backup administrator is changing, and new types of roles of people who want to be able to do data protection and backup are emerging. And so, yes, we have to build the CloudPoint product to address those new personas and those new users, right? We're not going to stop with this because we know that that market is not a huge growing market of backup administrators doing typical normal backup stuff. Now they're thinking about, how do I back up unstructured data? How do I back up NoSQL databases? How do I back up cloud-based workloads, right? And so we can add some of that capability in NetBackup, and NetBackup is so large and robust that it's really more targeted at the backup admin.
Yeah, so I think we get a really great understanding of the traditional, what you guys are doing, and expanding into helping existing customers take advantage of cloud. Get that message. What would be really interesting is to find out how you attract, if I was to come to Chris or Ned or Martise, how would you appeal to them? Like, oh yeah, I'm building a greenfield environment, need a new backup solution. That FUD you've heard about, master and catalog servers and all of that was FUD. Here's the architect, or here's the roadmap for the new shiny.
And that's what CloudPoint is.
Can I just interject slightly? I
Sure.
think looking at what you said, and I've sort of said nothing because I've just been listening to this, and I've been a heavy user of all your products to understand how they all work. I've used them for a long time. But it just seems to me that there's not a real clear vision about where you think you're taking the customer on the journey, or at least it's not presented in that way. So it seems like Keith just mentioned that on say, the backup products, the traditional net backup, that you provided the ability to use cloud as a target, which was a great thing, obviously, for cost and all the rest of it. But it's not clear how, when you talk about the new backup product, how customers would transition into that. So if they're either a new customer or if they're a customer that already uses, say, NetBackup today, and as they move forward, how they would transition from phasing that one out to phasing this one up as part of their transition, and how they would share that data and use it, that would be a more interesting journey conversation.
We should have the CloudPoint discussion and I'm taking people's time to actually go and have that discussion, because CloudPoint is that next generation way of doing things.
Yeah.
It is integrated into NetBackup. You can use it standalone by itself, or you can use it in conjunction with NetBackup for basically automating those kind of workloads.
All it seems is that you've got lots of products, then you've enhanced them, you've added features, you've done stuff, but it looks like stuff you've plugged onto what's already there, rather than it being a strategy for a long-term sort of direction for the platform. That's the way it's.
I apologize that it seems that way.
Yeah, that's what.
But what I will paint again is that we have a data protection product,
and I get
which is the NetBackup product. We have a new product called the CloudPoint product. The CloudPoint product is for that next generation user. The two integrate. So if I'm a NetBackup user and I want to use the CloudPoint functionality, I can do that.
Right.
But if I'm the new user and I just want to use the CloudPoint product, I can do that too. Right? Okay. So think of a company that's large and needs to disrupt itself. We have to continue to sell to our existing customer base, but we also have to sell to a new customer base as well.
And I don't disagree with that, but it's how you manage that transition so that it's clear that that's what you're intending to do. And
Understood.
That's really it, really.
That's fair feedback.